we were discussing about the third level, and third level is very important lesson, which is the instance, and it is written by Jack Finney. What did we learn yesterday? We learned that it's a Charlie who has been thinking about the third level. You know that when you want, we'll just first check, because I could see that if you have joined, so we can wait for others to join. We'll just wait. I could see that few have joined. And we are going to continue with the story, the third level. Yes, I would like to share the content also. So at first, I'll just see how many of them have joined. I could see some more are joining now. And this story is very interesting. It plays with our mind. We see a fantastic world, isn't it? And sometimes we go into the past. I can see some more joining there. So in this particular story, which is narrated by Charlie, Charlie is a protagonist. Charlie is the main character here in this particular story. And he goes on telling us the problems that he faces. And why is it so? Why did he come across the third level? And what did he see there in the third level? What did he see there? He felt that he can go to Galesburg. And there he can see the people who are leading very, very peaceful life. He's talking about all that. So the narrator claims that he has been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. But how this third level is existing there? First of all, you have to understand what is a third level. First level, you know that you can catch long distance trains. The second level is subway, where you can catch metro stations. My audio is clear to you? Am I audible? Audio is clear, right? So there is no problem. Okay, we can continue with the story only, which of Jack Finney. So the narrator who goes on narrating about his experience in third level. Now his friend tells him that what is the condition? It's a waking dream, wish fulfillment. And why he is facing this? Because he's totally unhappy. The modern life is full of miseries, insecurity, worry, war-torn countries. So the situation like that, and when we are facing with this, then what happens? We try to escape from reality. So this third level is a medium of escape. He talks about his hobby of stamp collection. It's a philately. So when you are having this hobby, you are taking a temporary refuge from reality. You go into the past. You think about the past. So the reality that is there, you certainly want to go away from the reality. Now Charlie was in a hurry to go to the apartment. And when he was in hurry to go to apartment, then what happens? He takes the subway from the Grand Central because he feels that it is faster than catching the bus. And when he goes there, he first goes to the first level, then he goes to the second level. Actually, from second level, he wanted to catch a train to go to the outskirts. But what happens? He comes across the third level. So today, we are going to discuss the remaining part of the story, the third level. So shall we go to the chapter now, third level, and then we'll discuss about what all he comes across there. And in detail, we'll discuss about that. The wonderful experience, the fantastic experience that Charlie has. It was wonderful, isn't it? And what we see, he goes to the past, then comes to the present. So there is a kind of moment of time there. And actually what he's doing, he's trying to escape from reality. And to escape from the reality, he finds that third level is the medium. And Sam tells him, what is the condition? Waking dream, wish fulfillment. So that is the problem, what he has been facing. So he is in a awakened state and he has been daydreaming. He has got a wish to lead a peaceful life. And in order to lead a peaceful life, what he wants to go to Galesburg. And what does he find there? People are leading very, very happy life. So he goes back into that past, 50 years ago, how people were leading their life. So talking about all that, okay, the world that existed. So he's really talking about all that existed there. So how the world was, okay. And then he says 20 years yet to come. And the year that was 1894. 20 years for what? For the World War. First. Yes, there's an audio problem. Okay, I'll just try to check that. Some audio problem, okay. Okay, boys, let's just find out why it is so. Okay, but I think here I'm quite audible to most of you. Okay, fine, we can continue with this story, which is quite interesting story. Maybe the network issue there, where you are there. Probably you have been facing that problem. But here, absolutely no problem. Yes, we'll just see. I could see many are not joined it. But we can continue with the story. So in the evening or later tomorrow, you can once again see that because it's going to be uploaded. And you can watch again. You can listen to this very interesting story again. Okay, we'll continue with the story. So what has happened there? Now that is what we're going to see that. So here, what he does, he comes across the newspaper, the world. And he says that the world did not really exist now. It was there long back, but now it is not there. And the period that was 1894, he talks about all that. And where did he find that newspaper? Later he found there in the library. Okay, I could see Manjunath is waiting in the lobby, so we'll admit him. Okay. Right. We'll continue with the story. Okay, boys, we can continue with the stories. Are you ready for that? So he talks about the newspaper. That's the world. And he says that it is no more published. I turned toward the ticket windows knowing that, and now here he goes to the ticket window. So why does he go there? Am I audible? I hope I'm audible to you. There's no problem. Okay, I hope you all of you have got the textbook with you. If you have got the textbook, then we can continue with the story. Okay, fine. So here we were discussing about the condition of Charlie. Waking dream, wish, fulfillment. So here he talks about all that. What? I turned toward the ticket windows knowing that here on the third level at Grand Central, I could buy tickets that would take Louisa and me anywhere to the United States we wanted to go. And which year they wanted to go? 50 years back, 1894. And he says, have you ever been there? It's a wonderful town. Which town he's talking about? Galesburg he is talking about. That was a wonderful town, very peaceful, huge lawns there, big old frame houses, tremendous trees whose branches meet over it and droop the streets. So that was a period, 1894. And summer evenings were twice as long. So he talks about that particular period, okay? Then what they were doing, smoking cigars. People were talking quietly. They were not arguing with each other. So they were leading a very, very peaceful life, happy life. The women waving palm leaf fans. So all kinds of happiness we can see around. The fireflies all around in peaceful world. So that was a world which was very peaceful. Harish is waiting in the lobby. Okay, fine. But we'll continue with the story and we can just get him here. Okay, to be back. World War II, 40 years. First World War, still 20 years off. And he wanted to buy 2 tickets. One ticket for himself. Another one for his wife. Now he approaches that window, counter. And where he can buy the tickets to go to where? Okay, this you can see Anand, yes, trying something. Okay, Anand. Okay, Sandeep is trying. Can you share the textbook? If you can share the textbook, that will be better. I hope all of you are not having the textbook. Okay, just try if you are. Okay, fine. All right. Okay, I'll continue with this story. So the clerk figured the fare. How much are the charges? How much he has to pay? So the clerk was calculating because he wanted to go to Galesburg. He glanced at my fancy headband, but he figured the fare. So when he told him that he wanted to go to Galesburg, then he calculated how much he has to make a payment. But when I counted out the money and looked up, the clerk was staring at me. He nodded at the bills. So he saw the currency notes that he was having. And he says that is not the money, mister. And if you are trying to skin me, if you are trying to fool me, you can't do that. You won't get very far. You can't go further. You can't keep. So definitely you'll be arrested. Definitely the case will be booked against you. Of course, the money was old. So what money he was having? Those were old style bills. Those were old style notes. So that is what he was having that. And half again as big as the money we use nowadays. And different looking. So they were totally different kind of notes that were there with him. So I can see some of them are still waiting. So we'll get them there. Okay, all of them. And we'll admit all of them. And then we can go ahead with the story. So I was discussing about the condition of Charlie. And what is that he's facing, that he has come across the third level. And his friend Sam, who is a psychiatrist, he tells him that what problem he has been facing. And what is that problem he has been facing? He has been facing that waking dream wish fulfillment. So he's daydreaming, though he's in awakened state, and he has got a wish that he wants to fulfill that wish. And this is what Sam says. And later part we find that Sam has been missing. He has disappeared. And remember that Sam is an urbanite. So Sam has been facing that problem. Good. Pawan is sharing. Yes, good. That you can go to page number 5. We are there. You can, and we can discuss about that particular page. Okay, you can come to that. Right. Good, Sandeep. So that if some of you don't have textbook, absolutely no problem, and we can discuss the question that is there. Can you see here? We are here, page number 5, and what is the question there? Would Charlie ever go back to the ticket counter on the 3rd level to buy tickets to Galesburg for himself and his wife? So he wants to buy tickets for whom? He wants to buy tickets for himself as well as for his wife. Good, Sandeep, you have done it. Okay, your shade right. So you can read that. And that was that. I left the same way I came, I suppose. So what he does, I turned away and got out fast because he never wanted to get arrested. So there's nothing nice about jail even in 1894. So probably he doesn't want to get arrested. He doesn't want to land up there in jail. And that is the reason why he runs away from there. And that was that. I left the same way I came. So what does he do? He leaves that place. Next day during lunch hours, I do $300. So he goes to the bank, and then what he does? He withdraws some amount. And why he withdraws that? Because he needs old style currency. He feels if he again comes across this 3rd level, then he should have what? The money, and that too old style currency. And that is the reason why he decides to go to the bank and withdraw old style currency, exchange the money. You can buy old money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium. My $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills, but he didn't care for that because he wanted to go to that particular place where he can lead peaceful life. XY 13 says, so everything was quite cheap, and therefore he didn't mind, even though he got less amount. But I never again found the corridor. But never he came across the 3rd level. That leads to the 3rd level. At Grand Central Station, okay, very important one. Did he come across again the 3rd level? No. Where did he find this 3rd level Grand Central Station? Now this time it's going to be MCQs. So therefore, each and every line you should read, and these are all very important facts that you should be able to remember. He had come across 3rd level once, and there he had to escape. There he needed what? Old style currency. He goes to the bank, collects that, withdraws the money, old style currency. But after that, he never came across. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this. So when he tells his wife that he had come across 3rd level and he wishes to go to 3rd level, he wishes to go to Galesburg, that she was very much worried because she felt that he was mentally ill. So he was facing what? He was facing psychological problem. So somebody, those who are waiting there in the lobby, okay, will admit them. So let's come back to the story. Don't keep on disturbing like this. It's a better if you can join at the beginning. Today I could see very few have joined. But your attendance is very, very important. So here let's come to this story now. So I was talking now here his wife is worried because she feels probably he has been facing, yes, some mental problem. And that's why she was quite worried about that. And after a while I stopped, I went back to my stamps. So then what does he do? See, afterwards he has not come across that. Then he goes back to the stamp collection that he had. His hobby of stamp collection. But now we are both looking every weekend because now we have proof. So somebody who is waiting there, Prajwal, Digaonkar. So quite disturbing. So I went back to my stamps. So I'll continue with the story. But now proof that the third level is still there. And how he says? He was quite sure because his friend Sam Weiner, he disappeared. And nobody knew where he had gone. And he suspected because he had told him Sam is a city boy. He's an urbanite. So he has been facing the same problem which Charlie has been facing. Lot of insecurity, lot of worries. And when somebody is having lot of worries, when somebody is quite anxious, what will he do? He will try to escape from reality. And when he is waiting, and when he tries to escape from reality, yes, then where does he find himself? He will come across the third level, and that is what Sam does. And Sam is an urban. I used to tell him about Galesburg. So when he used to tell, probably he also thought about that. Galesburg, where yes, he can lead very happy life. He always said he liked the sound of the place, and that's where he is all right in 1894. Where he has gone? He has gone to that particular place. Because one night fussing with my stamp collection, I found well. So what did he find there? When he was going through his stamp collection, now Sam, who has disappeared, his friend has disappeared. And who is his friend? Sam. What is he? Psychiatrist. Now the one who has told him that what kind of mental condition he was facing. So now he tells him that he has now, yes, about his mental condition. Now he has disappeared. And here he says, when he was fussing with his stamp collection, when he was going through that, suddenly he has come across a first day cover. And when a new stamp is issued, stamp collectors buy these first day covers. And postmark will be there with the date. So let's go to this particular question which is there here. Would Charlie ever go back to the ticket counter on the third level? Will he be able to go back to that third level? And it is quite clear that he has never been able to find that. But who has gone to the third level? That's his friend who has gone to the third level. Who is that friend? Sam. What did he come across? Third level. Where? Grant's, yes, station. So he has come across that Grand Central Station which is there in New York. And from there he has been able to go to Galesburg, which was very, very peaceful town. So let's move on to the next page. Shall we go to the next page? Okay, we can go on discussing. That next page is very, very important. Okay, we can go there. We'll continue that. So stamp collectors buy some and use them to mail. So they buy some stamps, and then this kind of first day covers which are there, which are issued on that particular day when new stamp is issued. And there on that particular first day cover, what will you find? Postmark will find and date will be there. So here he was quite sure because the date was of 1894. And they have never opened. And what is there inside? You may find blank paper, you may find information sheet there. That night among my oldest first day covers, I found one that shouldn't have been there. And what did he find there? He found one first day cover which should not have been there. He's talking about that. So if you can go to that next page, it will be better. You can just try that because we have been talking about the hobby of philately which he had. And then what was there? First day cover. Yes, we'll continue with that. So we were discussing about that. Right, good. That you have come to this particular page. That's the last page. So that night among my oldest first day covers, I found one that shouldn't have been there. And there, what was there? The date was also there. And someone had mailed it to my grandfather. So that was the period of his grandfather. At his home in Galesburg, that's what the address of the envelope said. And it had been there since July 1894. Since that particular time, it was there. But earlier day when he saw that was not there. But how did it come? He didn't know all that. So is it a figment of his imagination? That is a question. How did he come across this first day cover? That is a question there. Was it his figment of imagination. Was he having imaginative flight? The stamp was a 6-cent, dull brown with a picture of President Garfield. Naturally, when the envelope came to Granddad in the mail, it went right into his collection and stayed there till I took it out and opened it. So it was all there. What was there? It was all there. And what was there? There was a first day cover. And inside that there was a paper. And there was a paper there. And what matter was there in that? What was there? The paper wasn't black. Something had written. And it was the message of whom? It was message of Sam. And he says, I got to wishing that you were right. I wish that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And then I believed that you were right. And Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. And Sam says, yes, I found the third level. I've been here 2 weeks. And right now, down the street at the Dailies, someone is playing a piano. They're all out on the front porch singing. Saying El Nelligo, probably that was a very famous song in that particular period. And I'm invited over for lemonade. Somebody invites him for lemon juice. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. Till you find that third level, you can always go on looking for that. It's worth it. Believe it. Believe me, it's really worth visiting that. And the note which is signed there, and it is signed as Sam. At the stamp and coin store I go to, I found out that Sam bought $800 worth of old style currency. So when he has gone to that coin store, he found that, yes, Sam had bought that, and it's true that Sam had gone to Galesburg. That ought to set him up in a nice little hay, feed and grain business. So what kind of business he can have? Grain business he can have. Because people there are leading very peaceful life. Nobody is facing mental illness. So mental illness, when they are not facing, then he is not required. Psychiatrist is not required. In the past, people were leading very, very happy life. There was absolutely no problem. There was no need to worry about all that. So he always said that that's what he really wished he could do, and he certainly can't go back to his old business. So he can't go back to that old business. What? That psychiatry. So he can't practice psychiatry there. So psychiatrists are not required there. People are leading a very, very peaceful life there. People are quite happy there. So when you are leading very happy life, when you don't have any problem, when you are quite peaceful, absolutely no problem at all. And he certainly can't go back to his old business, not in Galesburg, Illinois in 1894. His old business, why? Sam was my psychiatrist. So who was Sam? Sam was his psychiatrist. So Sam's business is now grain business. What is his business? Grain business. So he has got hay business, hay, dry grass, then feed. Feed, it can be for cattle, that feed, and grain business. So that is what he has been running, that business there. So see here Sam, who is a psychiatrist, who has told Charlie what Charlie's problem was there, what mental illness he had. So he explained to him. But today, when we are coming to the end of this story, we find that Sam has been missing. And we start believing Sam. And we start feeling that really third level existed. The question is, really third level existed? What is third level? So third level was a medium of escape. Not only to Charlie, but even for Sam. Sam, who appeared to be quite realistic. Yes, Sam, who appeared to be quite realistic. At the end we find. So what do we find? That he also faced similar kind of problems. So those who are living in cities, they are all facing this kind of problem. And they all want to escape from reality. And we all, try to escape from reality. We go into fantastic world. And it's a fantasy that plays with us. So let's discuss the questions which are there at the end. So the first question we'll take up. That is, do you think that the third level was a medium of escape for Charlie? Of course, it was a medium of escape for Charlie. And not only for Charlie, even for Sam, it was a medium of escape. And why? Because the modern life is full of insecurity. Modern life is full of insecurity, fear, worry, war. And that is the reason why third level was a medium of escape. So let's go to the second question. So what do you infer from Sam's letter to Charlie? So when we read that letter, we feel really third level existed, or Sam also had similar kind of problem. He also wanted to escape from reality because he was also facing that anxiety. Now here the statement, the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry and stress. What are the ways in which we attempt to overcome them? So how can we overcome? We try to fantasize and then we try to escape from that. So here, what the Charlie is doing, what Charlie just wants to escape from that, and that's why he feels that third level really existed. So what doesn't exist, we feel that yes, we go into that fantastic world, into that fantasy where very happy life is there. We look for that kind of life. So do you see an intersection of time and space in the story? Yes, of course. From the present, it goes back to the past. 50 years ago, how people were living life, how the things were. It's all that description of the street lights, gas lights, then brass spittoons, all that description. Yes, it goes back to the earlier period. Then apparent illogicality sometimes turns out to be futuristic projection. Yes, it all appears to be illogical, but Sam, who appeared to be very realistic, at the end we find him disappearing and appears to be quite illogical thing, and the future projection that is given there. So now let's go to the next question. Philately helps keep the past alive. Yes, when you want to go back to the past, the stamps that have been issued there, it tells us about the time of that particular period. Stamps, commemorative stamps. So the things that existed during that particular time, that tells us when we have got the hobby of philately. Because those are issued, in memory of somebody or in as commemoration of a particular occasion. So in order to mark that commemoration, in order to do all that, so these stamps have been issued. And along with those stamps, when they are issued, we also get information wherein description or wherein we learn about the particular event. I hope it's quite clear to you. Okay, if you have got any doubts and all, we can discuss about that in the next period. But remember that this lesson is quite important because from Vistas you have two lessons to learn. One is the third level and second one is the enemy. So tomorrow we are going to discuss multiple choice questions. So once again, you can go through this particular story, which is quite interesting story, and it tells us about Charlie's fantasy. Charlie trying to escape from reality, and he goes into the fantastic world. And his friend Sam describes that what problem he was facing. He was facing waking dream, wish fulfillment. So he was in awakened state, but he was dreaming about something, the wish that he had, the desire that he had, and that wish, that desire, it was getting fulfilled. How? When he tells him that he had come across the third level. And why does it happen? Because the modern life is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest. So therefore, everybody tries to escape from the reality. And when Sam tells, Louisa is also worried about him because Louisa thinks that he's really facing mental illness. And does he really face the mental illness? Yes, we also feel that yes, he was facing that whether it is true. We don't know that whether it's true. Yes? Do you feel that it's true? When we say that it's a medium of escape, what does it mean? It's not true, my dear boys. It's not true. It was his figment of imagination. So he was having imaginative flight, and what he was fantasizing, he felt that that was a reality. But what about the Sam? Yes, probably Sam also faced similar kind of problem, and he was also trying to escape from reality. Yes, boys, I hope it's quite clear to you. You have been able to understand this particular story. Yes, this one, if you have got any doubts and all, we can discuss about that. Absolutely no problem. I hope it's quite clear to you. Okay, you can just go through these questions and read with insight. Definitely this will help you when you are answering multiple choice questions. So tomorrow we are going to discuss multiple choice questions, because in the term ending examination, of the first term ending examination, all the questions which will be asked will be multiple choice questions. So therefore, let us study this lesson in detail tomorrow, and I will be asking you multiple choice questions on this particular lesson.